What is going on, guys? It's David from AquaOtter, and welcome back to another very late One Piece chapter review. This week I am talking about, or in this video I am talking about, chapter 1016 titled It's Me, Otama. I am very late getting this chapter out. It actually is the chapter that came out 2 weeks ago at the time of recording. When I am recording this, I am currently about 4 days away from chapter 1017 being released, but I've had an incredibly busy 2 weeks. The weekend that this chapter actually dropped was the weekend of my grandma's 100th birthday, so I was a little bit busy with family stuff. Also, I'm in the middle of making a transition when it comes to jobs and, trying to get stuff figured out with the scheduling and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a little bit tougher for me to get videos recorded. But I am here. I am ready to talk about it. So let's get right into talking about chapter 1016. As I said, the title, It's Me, Otama. So we start off right at the beginning of this chapter talking about we're focusing on Wano in general, and so I'm going to try and do this. Also, I should say, before I dive into the chapter review, I'm going to try and once again do this a little similarly to how I did last week's chapter review, or the last chapter review that I put out, where instead of giving like a panel-by-panel recap, I'm just going to kind of talk about the stuff that happened, and then I'll dive right into a little bit of analysis on that, or at least how I felt in reading it. So the first thing that happens in here is we're in the flower capital, and we're actually focusing on Hitetsu and Otoko. And this is kind of a big thing, because if we remember from earlier back, earlier in Wano, Hitetsu said that he can't go into the capital for some reason. And I'm not the person who came up with this theory, but my personal headcanon for this, based off of a theory that I heard, is that Hitetsu is actually Kozuki Sukiyaki in disguise, and that's actually what happened to him, that he didn't die, and that he's been in hiding ever since Orochi's plan went into effect, and that's why he hasn't been able to go back into the capital. But he's in the capital with Otoko, and they're talking about the fire festival and what it means. And Hitetsu is explaining to Otoko that the bonfires they do during the fire festival, they light these fires so that the flames go all the way up to heaven. It's to honor their ancestors. And this is a theme that we've seen over and over again in Wano, with, honoring the dead and honoring the ancestors. And honestly, I kind of wanted to make a separate video talking about my feelings on this, and kind of this whole thing with like the spirits of the dead, because I have been getting major parallels ever since, I think, I believe last chapter it was, chapter 1015, with that moment where Luffy is able to call out to Law's crew through his unconscious state while he's in the water. I've been getting these weird parallels to the Skypiea arc, and just all this stuff with like the dead and the spirits of the dead, and I really feel like this is going to be really important, and that there may be even further parallels, which is kind of why I wanted to make its own separate video talking about this. But I did want to mention it here, that this is definitely, this moment with the fire festival, it's giving me major parallels to in Skypiea, when we learned about the trees of the dead and the bell, the ancient bell of Shandia, that they would ring to call the souls of the dead back to their homeland. And this is a very similar feeling with this thing with the fire festival and the fires going up to heavens, that the souls of the departed can see the light. And so yeah, I may end up making its own a separate video talking about that. I may not, but if you would like to see that video, make sure that you are subscribed so that you're notified when it comes out. Yeah, and also let me know down below in the comments if that's something that you would like to see me expand a bit on further. But yeah, so moving along, the next thing that happens is we are back in Onigashima, and I should say real quick, so I think that this phrase, specifically, there's a point during this part where Hitetsu says to Otoko that it's such a clear sky tonight, so he is sure that the souls of the departed will see the flames. And I think that what is going to happen is we're going to have a moment, because one of the last things we see before we transition over into the next part of this chapter is we actually get to see Onigashima. And we don't get to see where it's at in relationship to Wano, but I believe there's going to be a moment where the flames, the clear sky, is going to be completely blocked out by by Onigashima floating above it. And I think this is kind of where Momo is going to come in. Like I've been saying for ages now that Momo is going to have his Odin moment where he is literally holding Onigashima up. And I think that that's the moment where it's going to happen, is that he's going to have to figuratively hold Onigashima up using his clouds and move it elsewhere so that it will allow the flames to continue to rise up and allow the souls to go. And this is becoming more and more relevant with the scabbards that we have seen dying over the past couple chapters. Yeah, so moving on, we get this whole moment with CP0 and Bao Huang. I'm still very interested in what CP0 is doing on Onigashima. I have no clue what their overall goal could be, especially because they seem so passive, but I feel like they are eventually, especially with that like leak that we got, or leak, it's just theory bait at this point, where like the director of the anime said that, you know, once Kaido, he implied that Kaido was not the final boss of Wano. I feel like that's going to end up being CP0, or I know a lot of people are theorizing maybe Blackbeard's going to show up. I don't know about that, but I am interested to know about CP0. We go back to the Go board. It's a whole moment where, you know, Bao Huang is just kind of reiterating that, you know, they've managed to turn the tide a little bit. But that's not the important part, because now we get to focus on Nami and Usopp and Otama for a little while. The name of the chapter, Otama, you know, it's me, Otama. But, so we go back and we're getting a little bit of an explanation about what happened with Zeus. Because if we remember from the last chapter, it was revealed that Zeus is now in Nami's climate baton. And, so essentially what happened is that as Big Mom was, like, draining the soul energy out of the cloud and, like, feeding it to Hera, when Nami reached out her climate baton as like that last gift of black balls for Zeus, he got sucked into the climate baton, and now the climate baton itself is a homie. And so right around this moment, we see Bao Huang is coming out because she realizes now that Momonosuke has fallen, because remember that frog that Momonosuke had in the last chapter, that frog is still there, but Momonosuke and Shinobu, they fell off of Onigashima. So Bao Huang is going out to announce to the entire floor that, you know, Momo has fallen, that everything is done. And at this moment, there is a gifter who is with her, and he notices Nami and Usopp. And right as he notices Nami and Usopp and tells Bao Huang about it, Otama, who is in Usopp's arms, notices something behind Usopp, and Ulti is back. And so Ulti knocks down Usopp and basically is holding Otama hostage. And this is where we get to see the full extent of what Zeus is capable now, that he is the climate baton. Or moreover, what Nami is capable of now that Zeus is in the climate baton. Because in order to try and save Otama from Ulti, she goes to swing at Ulti with the climate baton, and Zeus actually transforms the climate baton from like a baton into kind of like a big mace with like spikes out of it. And she launches out a weather egg to try and hit Ulti with some thunder. And remember, we've known this is coming forever now, because there was that line chapters and chapters and chapters ago that if Nami wanted to take down Ulti, she needed stronger lightning. And that's where everyone was like, she's going to get Zeus back. You know, she really needs Zeus. It was confirmed in the Viver cards that Nami's lightning attacks are much more powerful when she has Zeus than when she doesn't. So she launches out a weather egg, Zeus pops out, and there's this really confusing moment here. I'm sorry, I'm doing the recaps of the panels again, but there's just some things that I want to dot in that are kind of important to talk about. There's this really confusing moment, and I, for one, maybe I'm just dumb, but I didn't get it at first, where she goes to launch this attack, and Zeus is like, you know, I'm no longer Zeus, give me a new name, and Nami yells out, Fluff, and Zeus is like, I am Zeus, the mighty left hand of Nami. And I didn't get it at first. It is supposed to be, it's definitely going to hit better in the anime, but when I was reading it, I didn't understand that it was supposed to be a joke, because it was like, basically Zeus saying like, that name's stupid, I'm not going to go by that, and just completely ignoring and just doing whatever he wanted. You know, just going back by Zeus because Zeus is a cooler name. But yeah, anyway. So she launches out the lightning attack. Ulti dodges, and this, like I said, full extent of what Zeus can do. Nami is like, shit, she dodged. Zeus curves the lightning and says basically, my job's not done until I hit the target. And they hit Ulti, and Ulti goes down, and Bao Huang announces it to the entire floor, the entirety of Onigashima. We get to see reaction panels from everybody, and Usopp coming in clutch. Not only does he take down Bao Huang, but also, I forgot to mention earlier, he helped out with separating Tama from ulti so that Nami could actually hit her with the lightning attack. Usopp basically tells Tama, listen, I don't understand what's going on, but she's basically like a loudspeaker. You need to make your announcement through her. And the last thing that we see before we transition away from this is Otama announcing to the entire floor, it's me, Otama, and then that's it. We don't get to see what she says, but we do get to see two people specifically that I feel like it's kind of weird that we see these two people react to it. We get to see Sanji react to it, and we get to see Beppo react to it. As well as all of the Tobi Roppo, like I said earlier, reacting to the fact that Ulti and Page 1 are down. But, so, I really, really like Nami's power up here. And we do get to find out that Zeus cannot leave the Climatex, which I don't think anyone didn't think that this was the case. But we do get to find out that Zeus cannot leave the Climatex without Big Mom's power. So Zeus is going to be sticking around for a while. Do I think the ulti's done now? Yes, I do think the ulti's done now. Do I wish that Nami had gotten a bit more of a fight with ulti to kind of showcase her new powers? Yes, but I also think that what we got was really, really cool. And I think that it is setting up Nami to be more of a powerhouse moving into, like, later arcs. Like, we're definitely going to get, like, a really good Nami fight coming up now that she has this, like, handle on Zeus. Honestly, it's totally not going to happen, but I think it would be really cool if we got to see Nami go up against Big Mom with Zeus, but I don't think that would happen because I feel like the easy way to get around that would be Big Mom would just pull Zeus out of the Climatex. But also, Usopp has been kind of disrespected a little bit, in my opinion, in this arc. Like I said earlier, I really don't know what CP0 is up to, but I would like to find out pretty soon what they're doing. And I would like to see, I don't know who at this point he could, but I would like to see Usopp get a fight and maybe showcase off the observation haki a little bit. Like, it was an important thing that Oda showed him awakening his observation haki. I think it would be pertinent now for us to see him using that a little more and to see how far he's advanced with it. Maybe Page 1 will come back and Usopp will actually get his fight against Page 1, but I don't think so at this point. Also, I think it's interesting that Sanji and Beppo were the only two people that we got to see react to the announcement of, it's me, Otama, because I don't think we've seen Sanji interact with Tama a whole lot. And also, Sanji is fighting Queen, who I think Queen is, like, starting to kind of piece together what's going on with Tama's powers, and that, Tama is the reason why, kind of like Ulti figured out in this chapter, that Tama is the reason why, their gifters and stuff keep swapping. And I think that what's going to happen is that Queen is going to figure out this from this announcement, and that Sanji is going to have to protect Otama. And because, Sanji, he's been getting some dubs recently, but I feel like it hasn't made up enough for the L's that he's taken in this arc. And don't get me wrong, like, most of the things that the community have considered L's for Sanji, I have not considered L's for Sanji. I really liked Sanji's character arc so far in this story. And specifically during the raid, like, that whole thing with Black Maria that everyone was like, oh, Sanji, I can't believe he got disrespected like that. I really liked that. I thought it was a great Sanji character moment. And if you go back to that chapter, like, I explained there why. But I do think that having him have to be the protector, once again, kind of paralleling that Enies Lobby moment that I brought up in the last chapter review, where, like, he came to save Chopper from Queen, just like he came to save Usopp from Jabra. But to have him in that protector role against Queen, as, like, Queen's going after Otama, I definitely think that could be a really big dub for him. I'm not sure why we saw Beppo. No clue on that. But, yes. And then, so finally, and this is where everyone got super, super excited. Everyone in the community was talking about these last couple panels, because the last thing that we see is we see Kaido and Yamato's fight. And there are three big things that happen here in their interactions with each other, because it's basically just like the before of the fight, and they're just kind of talking a little bit. And so the three big things that happen here is Kaido basically says that he's not leaving Wano because he's here precisely because it's Wano, which implies what we've all already known, that Wano is special. And I don't know why Wano is special, but Wano is special. And this has been hammered home for many, many chapters now, where we've been learning that Wano is special. You know, Odin knew that Wano was special. That's why when he got to Laugh-Tell, he knew something at Laugh-Tell told him Wano needed to be open. The borders of Wano were closed for a reason, and they need to be opened before a certain time so that they could welcome a certain somebody. Wano is special, and this is definitely tying back to Joy Boy, because as we learned in the last chapter, Kaido knows something about Joy Boy too. Whatever Joy Boy is, whether it is a person, whether it is a title, it doesn't matter. But the second important thing that happens is that Yamato proclaims that he is going to be leaving with Straw Hat to join the Straw Hat crew. He's going to be leaving with Luffy. He's going to sail the seas with the Straw Hats. He's going to become a Straw Hat because Straw Hat Luffy is the man that Kozuki Odin was waiting for. And then the final thing is the final panel of the chapter, where Kaido basically transitions from his dragon form into his hybrid form straight away and basically says, don't think I'll go easy on you. And there's a big clash of Conqueror's Haki. Now, I don't know, the way that it's framed in the panel, it looks like it's just a big Conqueror's Haki hit, but I think that it's a clash of Conqueror's Haki. I think that Yamato, and it would make sense, honestly, if we think about it, Yamato, I think, is a user of Conqueror's Haki. Not confirmed at this point, but I think it's definitely plausible and that the seeds have been planted here. Now, what do I think about this final bit? I am super excited about it. Anybody who's been following my reviews for a while knows that I am Team Yamato for Straw Hat. I would love Yamato to become a Straw Hat. I think that he would add a great dynamic to the crew. And I don't think the fact that he has read Odin's journal actually is going to discourage that. I have said before that I think that Momonosuke reading the journal is going to disqualify him. But at the same time, after the last chapter with everything that happened with Momonosuke, I definitely think that Momonosuke could join the crew. And I'm starting to think that that journal actually has less information in it than we think. And even if it does have information, I'm starting to think that if anything, it's going to lead to these interesting moments, in the crew dynamic where, like, they'll be going places and, like, Yamato will be like, oh, I remember in Odin's journal, and Luffy will, like, from across the ship just, like, reach out and, like, put his hands over Yamato's mouth, like, no, I don't want to know, because remember, the one thing we know about Luffy, it's not about the destination for him. It's about the journey. He doesn't want to know anything about the journey. He turned it down. He basically told Usopp at Sabaody when Rayleigh offered to tell them, I don't want to know. If I find out, I'm just going to stop. Like, this is as far as we'll go. So, yeah. I'm really excited. I would love Yamato to join the crew. Also, I really hope that that we are going to get some kind of Yamato versus Kaido fight. I would like to actually see it happen, a little bit of their fight, because we've got to see what Yamato's devil fruit is, because I'm fairly certain that Yamato has a devil fruit. It's already been implied with the, like, partial transformation. We saw that panel with the teeth. But yeah, and if Yamato is a white tiger, that would be awesome. But yeah, so that being said, where do I think we're going from here? Chapter 10 and 17 comes out tomorrow. I am sure, or not tomorrow, comes out in 4 days. I'm sure the spoilers are already online. I haven't seen them. The scans may even be out. I haven't seen anything from it at the time of recording this video. But where do I think we're going from here? So, the wide majority of people think that Wano is going to be 5 acts. And if anybody has been watching my videos, this is now the 15th video that I'm putting out, or 16th even, I'm not sure, where I have basically been talking about this 5-act structure. And so I have talked before that, Act 1 was 15 chapters, Act 2 was 30 chapters, Act 3, which is going on right now, a lot of people are thinking is going to be 60 chapters. So the 60th chapter of Act 3 will be 1018. So, I know there are people who are thinking, and I even theorized in my last video, that the Kaido flashback is going to start, is going to like end out this this Act 3 is going to be the Kaido flashback, and then when we come back, we'll go into the act break. I don't think that's the case. I think next chapter, will we check in again with Kaido and Yamato? I hope so. I really, really hope so. I don't know where else we have to go around Onigashima to check in, genuinely. But we have, I think that definitely, within the next 2 chapters, Act 3 will end. I really have no strong predictions as to what's going to happen. Maybe we'll check back in with Kid in Law and Big Mom. Maybe we'll actually see what CP0 is doing, and that's kind of why they brought him in. I do think that before Act 3 ends, the one thing that we do need to find out, because there's only one thing that's hanging up in the air right now, and that is, where is Denjiro? We pretty much know where everyone else is across Onigashima but Denjiro, because after that moment in the storeroom where Ashura Doji sacrificed himself, we have not seen Denjiro since then. And I don't know where he's going. I know a lot of people think that because he has that established connection with Sasaki, that he's going to show up and help out Frankie with Sasaki. I think he's going to find Hiyori. That's my personal guess as to where he's at, but I would like to check in with that, and I do think that it is possible that before the act ends, we will get the reveal of who the storeroom silhouette was, whether that be Hiyori or whether that be Toki. I'm still hoping that it's Toki, but I'm leaning more towards it being Hiyori at this point, because it would explain why Denjiro, who is pretty much the only person who has seen Hiyori, in the past 20 years after Kawamatsu got separated from her, he would recognize her and know that she's on Onigashima and go to find her. And maybe this is how... I don't think that this is how Momo's going to get Ame no Habakiri, but I believe that Ame no Habakiri is going to come into play when Momo comes back, but that has nothing to do with what went on in this chapter. But yeah, so... I think that might be next chapter. We'll either check in with what CP0 is doing. Maybe they'll finally start to mobilize. And that could kind of be where Usopp gets his fight. Maybe he has to fight one of the CP0 guys. Or we're going to check in with Denjiro. And that definitely needs to happen. But yeah, so overall, I thought it was a pretty decent chapter. I did. It wasn't as good as last chapter. Definitely the Yamato for Straw Hat in me is like... Yes, great chapter. This is definitely setting up Yamato to join the Straw Hats. And I think, honestly, a lot of people that are saying, well, you can't invite yourself onto the Straw Hats. Robin invited herself onto the Straw Hats. I mean, Luffy accepted her, but I think it's about time that we get someone. And Oda did say that the next couple Straw Hats would be joining one after the other. So, I mean, Jinbei technically joined in, officially in Whole Cake Island, but, he didn't come and join up with the Straw Hats until, the raid started on Onigashima. So we'll have Jinbei joining, and then Yamato joining, possibly Momo. I am not on the Otama train, even though I feel like a lot of the community think that Otama is going to join. I don't know what's going to go on with her, but I don't think she's joining. And then Vivi, because I believe that what is happening because of the act breaks is that Sabo is bringing Vivi to the Straw Hats. And if not Sabo, remember there are a couple members of the Grand Fleet that were at the Reverie. So whatever happened, my theory is that the person that died was Cobra, that the government killed Cobra and then blamed it on Sabo, and that Vivi, knowing that Sabo didn't do it, went with Sabo on the run because... Remember, Wapol sent that information into Big News Morgan's. Wapol is the only person who knew that Vivi traveled with the Straw Hats because she was the only he was the only person who saw Vivi during Drum. That it actually would have mattered to know that no one else to this point recognizes Vivi as the princess except for Wapol. So that could be the information that he sent into Big News Morgan's. Could have blown her spot. Maybe Vivi is now on the run because she is a pirate affiliated with the Straw Hats, and so Vivi is going to have to make her way back to the Straw Hats. But yeah, so anyway, I went on a huge ramble there, but that's pretty much a lot of my predictions for what's going to happen moving into the end of the arc. We'll see what happens in the next chapter, and then the chapter after that. I could be completely wrong. Maybe Oda's just not going to end Act 3. Maybe Act 3 is all that's left. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I know that got really, really rambly, but I guess I had a lot more to say about the chapter and about Wano and the arc and the story in general than I thought I did. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys once again so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to never miss a video. Like I said, I've got a video in the works. Who knows if I'm actually going to put it out, but I would really like to put out a video talking about my theories with the in the relationships between Wano and Skypiea, and everything with like the culture of the people of Wano and the culture of the Shandians. But yeah, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss any videos when they go up. And until next time, I will see you guys in chapter 1017.